I don't care how they did it. They did it. Welcome into the TexAgs post-game wrap where Texas A&M beats Auburn 16-10. Who had this game as a defensive battle? I thought they were going to score 40+, but that didn't happen. This is presented to you, by the way, by TKO Equipment, your Aggie-owned, operated Texas construction and aggregate equipment dealer. Founded 47 years ago by the Smith family. Aggie classes of 60, 67, 69, 73, and continuing today with classes of 73, 98, and 12 actively involved, headquartered in the DFW area with fully stocked branch offices in New Braunfels. TKO proudly serves all of Texas and has the equipment and expertise and passion for service to keep your job up and running. TKO, also your exclusive Texas screen machine dealer. Give them a call for your earth-moving or aggregate equipment needs, or simply visit them at www.tkoequipment.com to learn more. All right, we got a game to get into because the way it started and the way it ended, phenomenal. Defense, sack after sack to end the game, to start the game. The best offensive series of the entire day. Unfortunately, between a lot of penalties, we're going to break it down with our panel. Chris Taylor is in studio with us. What's up, CT?
What's going on?
Been a minute.
It's been a while.
Yep. Si's here. His son's watching, so hopefully we'll get Cy to play sports here at A&M at some point. We've got Brandon Leone with the greatest background of all time. Where are you?
I'm in Cabo, man, at an Aggie's house with some of my best friends. It's beautiful, man. It's a blessing. My 40th birthday got canceled last year because of a hurricane. And we re-upped on this, and it's with an Aggie win, it just makes it even more of a special trip. So I'm super thankful.
You're lying. You got a green screen. That's all right. And Chris Harrington joining us as well. What's up, Chris?
What's up, David?
All right, guys, let's get into it. So, CT, I'm going to start with you. You're here in studio. This game, I mean, we got a little mini parts to get into. But a text from a buddy of mine, and I've seen this a lot on social media, was like, man, I'm not satisfied with that win. We'll lose other SEC games. My retort to that was, did you see what your defense did? Mm-hmm. This is the best Elko coach defensive game since he's been the head coach at Texas A&M. That is an excellent offense that you limited to really no touchdowns, right? Because it was basically a pick six what they scored on. They got it on the two.
Right. It's a win.
Yeah.
And I think that is the piece that, as Aggie fans, I know we want this thing. We want to score 40 every game. It's just not going to happen. You know, we were able to come out. You get a defensive stop immediately. You go down. You put 7 on the board. Auburn really didn't do anything all day. So from a defensive standpoint, they played lights out. Now, from an offensive standpoint, it was an ugly game. It was that old school. It felt like, and Lucci and I were talking, old school RC game, ground and pound, grind it out, play defense. It felt like that. So it may not have been the prettiest game that we've played, but it is a win. You know, we're 4-0. We get another home game next week. So, you know, regardless of you know, how pretty it is, that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. That doesn't matter. What matters is wins and losses, and we're pushing towards getting to Atlanta, being able to play in the postseason. Those are the things that really matter at this time. And so, you know, penalties concerning, but, you know, I think I trust Elko to be able to go back and get those things corrected. And we got to win. So not going to complain about it.
Mr. Harrington, give us your thoughts on how this one played out.
Yeah, it was a dominant defensive performance. So that was great to see. Marcel looked really good at times, but it seemed like penalties just continued to disrupt rhythm anytime we got a rhythm going. It was really good seeing us establish the run game, have Le'Veon, run for 140 yards. That was really great to see. But, I always talk about the battle up front in the trenches, and I feel like we won the battle up front in the trenches, and that's really good to see. Guys are staying healthy. Seems like we're getting better week over week. So I was really encouraged watching it from the house. Like it was, apparent that, our defense dominated that game. And if it wasn't for, penalties and some of the things that disrupted drives or brought back touchdowns, this game really should have not been as close as it was. It could have easily been, a 3-score differential in it. But watching from home, it looked really good. We looked really good out there.
Brandon, watching from the beach, how did this one look?
Well, I mean, here's what I'd like to say. I think that's 2 big-time football games in a row that mattered, where you had to battle it to the literal end of the game. And in the past, I think you would have seen this team find ways to lose it. And it seemed like with the penalties and just the crazy play call, the horizontal pass, the bus either gets tipped for an interception, it seemed like we were trending that direction. But the defense held it down. They did what they needed to do to get off the field 2 times to end the game. And to me, the thing that's encouraging, there's plenty of things that are discouraging that we can talk about, but what's most encouraging to me is 2 games that mattered, Notre Dame and Auburn, where it seemed like it was hanging by a thread. We fought to the very end of the finish. We're 1-0 in SEC play. We're 4-0 as a football team. And I was just super encouraged to see this team hang on tough and win. And from home, right, watching on TV, it sounded like the 12th man was there again, supporting like crazy and loud. And man, if our defense plays like this for the rest of the season, Chris and I talked briefly before we hopped on. Corian York looks the best he's looked in a long time. Sanford 27's flying around the football. If we can clean up those mental mistakes, we talked about this week, dial in on special teams. Vaughn missed a few kicks that I know he's capable of making. This team has so much room for improvement, yet they're 4-0 and 1-0 in SEC play. So I'm encouraged. I'm happy that we finished with a win because now I can finally relax and enjoy the stretch because I've been stressed since we've been here. So I'm happy about that win.
Yeah, and CT, let's talk about a couple things we liked. And you mentioned the RC style of game, and it felt like at times it could be a different kind of game. But Le'Veon ran the way we're used to seeing Le'Veon run. 21 carries, 139 yards, had that 1 touchdown. He was phenomenal when he needed to be.
Yeah, you see Le'Veon, and I think he's getting back into that form that he was last year. And people forget he had a major knee injury, and that takes time to come back. And so, you look at that backfield, you look at that running back room. I mean, Le'Veon, then you got Reuben and Amari's, and then the young man in 23, Morrow. He comes.
Jermaine Morrow. Yeah.
So you've got guys in that room that can spell Le'Veon, and you give it to them early, get them into a rhythm. You get those guys in, allow them to be able to change the pace, to be able to kind of wear that defense down. I mean, you look at that Auburn defense. That's not a shabby bunch.
No, that's a really good defense.
Those guys play really hard, and they play well. They fly around. I think they're well coached. They have a great scheme, and they get to the football. And so what you saw was Le'Veon early and often. We mix those other guys in the middle part of the game, and then Le'Veon comes in and he closes this thing down. And that's what you want. Those body shots, they add up.
Yeah.
And so you get to the fourth quarter, then you look up, Le'Veon's over 100 yards rushing, and they can't stop it. It's the body blows, they keep adding up. And so excited to see him continue to get better, to get stronger, to continue to carry the load. But I thought Le'Veon played his heart out today. He left it all out on the field. And so I'm excited to see what he does the rest of the season.
Mr. Harrington, the Aggies had 5 sacks in that game. It might have been 3 in the fourth quarter, at least 2 that I remember. And really, even though this is the kind of game that I think in the past I would expect them to lose because they'd find a way to lose this game. They found a way, and it was the defense getting it done, especially with those sacks.
Yeah, I think in the back end, the Desricks, Will Lee did a great job in coverage. Seems like we had a great scheme. Every third down, there was a different, blitz come in. They were showing different looks and multiple, and York's moving everybody around and communicating. And so I think they did a great job on the back end. And seeing Deion Hayes up there, seeing Cassius Howell, get home on one of those sacks there at the end. It was really great to see the way he turned that corner. That's elite level stuff, and it's so good to see that developing late in the game for him. But I thought it looked like we were in their head the whole game. The 12th man was in their head. They really had they didn't have a single third down conversion. So it was really dominant, and really great to see the big guys on the inside too. I mean, we had a couple silly penalties, on Albert Regis, and that's a little frustrating. But those are penalties of passion, and I don't think they were too egregious. But seeing him on Yedem, I really do feel confident that we've got elite level talent on the defensive line right now.
All right, Brandon. Another thing that I was very happy with was Casey Concepcion had some really nice games, but he wasn't the headliner. Today he had that headliner performance. It seemed like, all right, they're going to try to take Mario Craver out of it. Oh, by the way, we got this guy on the other side.
Yeah, that's what you and I talked about earlier this week. I think you're seeing the utilization of elite talent that we brought in via the portal. And what that does is put pressure on a defense. It's like, who do you take away, right? You try to take away Craver, Casey's opened up. And then you see the tight end got used a little bit more today on a big conversion. And then the one thing I will say, man, here's what I'll say about this. I think Colin Klein is a great offensive coordinator. I think he has a great team. I would like to see us improve situationally on play calling. 3rd and 1, we're gashing them on the interception play. We're running the ball down their throats, and you overthink it and you throw a horizontal pass. Bussy should have caught that ball. It should have been a tackle for a loss. We kick a field goal. But either way, utilize the talent that you have around you. And so I think what we're seeing happen, though, that I love is that this guy's committed to the runs. You look at Ole Miss and LSU today, it was a close-scoring game. I think people probably thought that was going to be a high-scoring game. It's 24-19. So I love that we're committed to, on the front side of the season, establishing the run. But I would love to see us get a little bit more, see Colin get more in his bag and some of these critical plays in situational football where I know we have the talent around Marcel to utilize and spread this offense more. It was a little bit predictable and sometimes questionable. But either way, like you said, having Craver, having KC, seeing KC get back to another 100-plus yard game, it just goes to show you that we can put some pressure on some teams and we're going to be tough to game plan against going forward.
So it actually ended up changing a little bit at the end of the game, but A&M had, what was it? I don't have the exact numbers. Nick, if you can pull the exact number of penalties, I think it was
12.
13 penalties for 119 yards, I think it was, but I don't, if my thing's not opening. But I do know how many passing yards that Auburn had. They had 125 yards. So if it was 119, 13 for 119, and then Auburn had 125 yards of offense. So I say all that to you, CT. We'll start it with you. Coach Elko was asked. Somebody asked me to ask Coach Elko. Well, I'm not at the press conference. I'm doing this show, but he was asked right out the gate, and he says on the 13 penalties, I don't know what the root cause of it was. If I did, we would fix it. But that is something that they're going to have to address.
Right. I think in a football game, you should never be in 2nd and 30 or 3rd and 30. That was a little crazy because when you're establishing rhythm, and I think we were going right down the field, 18-yard play here, a 12-yard run. Then we have another, 15 or 16-yard pass play. And then you start seeing us go back. You start seeing us going backwards. So, whatever it is. And I think the most frustrating part about it is you come off of a bye week and you have 13 penalties. Some of them are efforts, but, it's you've got to clean that up. Those things are drive killers. Those things take points off the board. And they're momentum killers. And so I think they will go back. They're going to watch the video. They're going to watch the tape. And you will start to see some of those things cleaned up. But, I don't like talking conspiracy, but you looked at a lot of the holding calls. The flags were flying off of Auburn sideline. I don't know that a single holding call was called from the official that's standing on our sideline. So I don't know what the mechanic of the official is, but it's part of the game. And, if they're calling those and they're calling it tight, you've got to get yourself in a good position, go back to your technique, get your hands inside, run your feet and be clean on your assignment. So, Elko's done a great job.
Yeah.
And there's no reason to believe that he won't clean this up, that they will correct those things, and you'll start to see those numbers start to go down.
Mr. Harrington, I'm looking at this A&M team and I'm like, they manhandled. This should have been a blowout, in my opinion, right? But they manhandled an Auburn team that was desperate for a victory, that had to get something done, that had a couple of or at least one wide receiver on that team that torched you last year. And, Coach Elko was asked about this, and he goes, we led from start to finish an SEC football game against an 0-1 football team that had their backs against the wall. And A&M, to me, even though they had the penalties, they played at least defensively like their backs were against the wall.
Yeah, it was great to see, in Notre Dame, offense had to come up with a big play, to win that one. And it was great to see tonight the defense got the chance to be the last ones on the field, making the stop when the game was on the line. So, yes, penalties have to get cleaned up. There was lots of penalties on both sides, some silly ones. But overall, it was a dominant defensive performance. It was really great. Early in the season, we were a little curious about the commitment to the run. Now we see the commitment to the run, but we've those body blows, the hits that, Moss hasn't had to take to this point. Now we're needing him, and he's coming through, and he's running hard. Offensive line is doing a great job against a really good defensive front who's rotating guys the whole game. So I was really impressed. That was a great win for the team, and I think momentum's like all in our favor. We just got to keep it going.
Leote, look, I think there's two sides when you make a play call, like for Coach Klein. The touchdown was a beautiful play that they took back because Armage was down. I did not love the 3rd and 1 play. I'm thinking to myself, the one that basically became a pick 6. In that situation, I just want them to give the ball to Le'Veon. But it does show you how difficult of a position a play caller's in. To me, it looks so simple. Just give it to Le'Veon. He's going. Like, in the worst case, you're kicking a field goal. You're up now 19-3. That play could have cost them this game.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to sound like I'm picking on Klein because I'm a full supporter of his. I think that he's utilizing the talent around him in a really good way. I just think you could watch it across the country. I just think sometimes these coaches get in their head, man. You are gaffing those guys with the run game. You're driving them down. They're Auburn's defense. You've got their head down. They're tired. It's 3rd and half a yard, and you saw a wide receiver string horizontally. You're asking yourself to make a play that's, a tough play to make, asking receivers to block on the boundary and tight ends to get out in the flat. And it's just, to me, don't overthink it. Run the football, right? And so I'm not picking on him, but I agree with you. I do think it's that simple. When you have a back like Le'Veon Moss, when your offensive line is hungry and they have momentum and they want to shoot somebody's ass up and go score a touchdown, give it to the running back and let your O-line eat. And so, again, all that matters is that we got this win. The thing to me, Nuno, that was crazy about today, y'all have all said it. They showed a stat after that interception when it was 13-10, or right before they scored. Dude, Auburn had 71 yards of offense, and that interception return was 72 yards. So what penalties are doing to our team is they're slowing the momentum. They're letting it get in our guys' heads. They're putting us behind the chains, and they're letting teams hang around when we should put them away. Yeah. All of us can agree, and everybody watching that game agrees. When you have over 400 yards and you hold the team, you're playing under 200 yards, it should be a substantial win. And so, but ultimately, we did not do that. We made mistakes, but we put our heels in the ground. We held it down when we needed to. Like Chris said, defense was flying around the football. They got off the field when they needed to, and we won. And so we can talk about it. We can be frustrated, and there's plenty y'all will talk about this week, but ultimately we're 1-0 in SEC play against a team that was desperate for a win. And to me, the thing I'm leaving tonight with is our culture is changing. These guys are fighting. They're not backing down, and they're stepping up when they need to. And that should be encouraging to all of us. Plenty of stuff to clean up, but that was a big one.
By the way, Mississippi State is currently now tied. They were leading Tennessee 34-27, but Tennessee has just scored a rushing touchdown, so they're about to tie it. If Mississippi State does win this game, they're going to be ranked when they come here next week. That is going to be a more difficult game than we expected. But I did want to say, this is the first time A&M, this is for everybody. Everybody talked for about 30 seconds on this. This is the first time that A&M has been 4-0 to start the season. And I don't mean it as a flex, but since 2016, CT.
Yeah, and now it's one game at a time. And it's been that way. But truly, we don't need to look ahead. Florida State got bitten doing that last night. This game is done. Watch the tape, celebrate it, flush it. Mississippi State is the next opponent up. Now we have to make sure that we're focusing and doing the right things based on what they do, play to our strengths, and go out there. Home crowd, home game, night game, blackout. It's going to be insane. Just go out there and handle your business. I think we're a better football team than Mississippi State.
Harrington?
Yeah, no. I mean, all the pieces are in place. So we just got to go out and execute, clean up the penalties. We can run when we need to run. We've got big play receivers that can make plays. Marcel's growing up every week, so we're watching him improve week over week. I agree, Colin Klein, some of the play calls, hopefully he can learn from as we move forward and stick to what's working. But I'm super confident that in this team and our ability to move forward. We need to stay healthy, but I'm really impressed by what we're doing, the ball that we're playing right now.
Brandon?
Yeah, man. I mean, ultimately, we all know this. They remember November, and it takes a lot of steps in games like this week and the one against Notre Dame where you fight to the very end of it. There's a lot of talented teams in front of us. but ultimately we're finishing, and we're developing a culture and identity of a tough football team that does what it takes and necessary to overcome mistakes and capitalize and win football games that matter. And so we got to keep that momentum going. And I'm excited to see where we end up at the end of the season. But yeah, man, it's encouraging. Hopefully Mississippi State wins, because with Florida State losing, maybe there's a shot College Game Day comes to town next week. It'll be a good matchup, top 20 matchup most likely. So big win. Good to see you guys. I'm excited for next week.
Yeah, me too. Hey, and by the way, Double B on the YouTube page says, have we ever held someone to 0% on third down conversions? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know, CT, going 0 for 13, that's what Auburn did. Yeah. That is a phenomenal stat for the A&M defense. And by the way, I believe they went 0 for 2 on fourth down conversions. Am I right? And I am right, because I'm always right, except when I'm wrong. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the TexAgs post-game wrap. Texas A&M does win 16-10. Next week, Mississippi State will be here to do it all over again. I understand you'll be here.
I'll be here.
I think, Brandon, you'll be here? Or
I'll be there.
And Chris Harrington, we'll see, right?
We'll see.
I need to get closer to Brandon anyway. We should be in Cabo together right now. So.
You know what?
Look at this. It's crazy.
I could actually do this.
Place.
I could have Nick turn that into a beautiful beach in the background too. Okay, so like if I could have him do that. I don't know if
it's a beautiful place, man. It's crazy.
I'm jealous. Thanks for inviting me. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody. And as I mentioned, that'll do it for the TexAgs post-game wrap. A&M wins at 16-10. Mississippi State next week. And again, this is brought to you by TKO Equipment. We'll see you tomorrow on the Luchador.